What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Always Be Booked YouTube channel. Today, it's a celebration. That's right, a Carnival celebration. What we're going to do is walk you through bow to stern, all things Carnival Celebration. We're going to do an overview of the ship and its neighborhoods, the features on the ship, the onboard entertainment, the drinks, the food, and then we're going to talk about a review where we're going to get to the bottom of whether or not this cruise ship is for you. Stick around.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Always be booked. Always.
All right, guys, as mentioned, we're going to talk about the Carnival Celebration. But first, I'd like to invite you to check out the Always Be Booked Cruise podcast. It's a podcast about cruising. You can find it anywhere. iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, anywhere you like to listen to your favorite podcast. Also, if it's not too much trouble, I would love you to subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. Also, please hit the like button with the notification bell on so you can be updated each and every time I post a new video. Let's talk about Carnival Celebration. She's in the XL class. This is the largest class of ships Carnival has to offer. She's the second ship in the XL class, the first being the Mardi Gras. Now we have the Carnival Celebration. Now, if you're a traditionalist, this is definitely not going to be the ship for you. From the stats, you would think that this ship is just the biggest and baddest thing at sea. But what I will say, when you're on the ship, and you're moving from venue to venue, it does feel a lot smaller once you're on. Neighborhood by neighborhood, we're going to start with the Ultimate Playground. Now, the Ultimate Playground is up top. It's got the Bolt roller coaster. It has the ropes courts, the kids splash zone, all that stuff. If you're looking for a day in the sun, a day of activity, you know, if you got the kids, they're going to be nice and tired after they get through the Ultimate Playground. But that's where that is. That's up near the Lido Deck. And yeah, man, very, 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 very popular area of the ship. We also have Celebration Central. Celebration Central is down on decks 5, 6, and 7. And this is the area of the ship where it's sort of like the central hub. You have the main staple in here is the Grand Central Theater, which is a very interactive theater where a lot of the more elaborate high-end shows take place. You'll also have Java Blue there. You'll have some restaurants. You know, Carnival has done a lot when it comes to trying to drive a lot of their entertainment into the main atrium. This is, I mean, that on a way, way bigger level. So that's Celebration Central. Then we'll make our way over to 820 Biscayne. This is a little bit of a homage to Miami, the city where Carnival got its start, where the offices are. So you have a bunch of restaurants there. You have Cucina del Capitan. You have Bar 820. You have access to the outside promenade. You have some of the grab-and-go food, including Miami Slice and the Deco Deli. Moving on from there, you'll have the Gateway. The Gateway is a little bit of a tribute to travel in general. It's almost like going on a journey. You'll get some Carnival history there. You'll see the Golden Jubilee Bar there. Emerald's Bistro 1397 is there. Latitude's Craft Cocktail Bar is there, and that is almost like a setup like it's a train station, but it has LED screens where you will see nightly shows that are themed around going on journeys, taking vacations, different parts of the world, and it's just, like I said, a celebration of travel in the Gateway. You also have the Carnival Kitchen. You have the Alchemy Bar in that area. Another place where you can get next level martinis. A cool little area on the ship is the Gateway before we make our way to the back of the ship, which is Summer Landing. Now, Summer Landing is a big wide open area where you'll find Heroes Tribute Lounge. That kind of just bleeds into the Guy's Pig and Anchor, Smokehouse, and Brewhouse. That's a big, big bar area. You have Flavortown Bar. You'll see the Aft Pool back there. This, I would have to say, on deck 7 is a very, very popular meeting place. You'll see a lot of football games going on. There's a lot of barbecue being eaten. There's almost like backyard barbecue type parties back there. They put the band back there a lot. A lot of people congregate back there, but it is a big wide open space, so it never really feels that crowded. But I have to say, it does get a little loud back there. Then you have Lido. Lido is the pool area. Everybody knows what Lido is. You have your grab-and-go food, which we will talk about a little bit later, but you also have the 2-level Red Frog rum bar. You have the Aft Pool in the back. You have the Lido buffet, all that stuff, and that is the Lido area. All right, now that we've covered the various neighborhoods on the ship, let's talk specifics when it comes to food. I'm going to there's a bunch of different ways you could break down the food, but I'm going to break it down into 2 ways. Restaurants that you sit down at, but first, grab and go option. So we'll start with, and let's be honest, let's call it what it is. Nobody touches Carnival when it comes to grab and go food. They're simply the best. It's not even close. Let's start with Guy's Burger. Guy's Burger is a staple on Carnival ever since the first one got introduced. They started out as like a little bit of a burger shack, but now you see on ships like the Celebration and Mardi Gras, they have their own sort of restaurant space dedicated to it with its own seating area, and well deserved, because you can see the popularity of Guy's has just taken on a life of its own. And then you have Guy's Pig and Anchor, which is your barbecue. There's basically 2 versions of this. You have your grab and go outside, but then you do have also where you can sit down, be served, and the whole restaurant thing. You also have Blue Iguana Cantina, which is also maybe not the same hype that Guy's gets, but it probably should. And then you have Miami Slice, which to me, Carnival always did pretty good with the pizza across the board, but this is to another level. They're well set up, a well-equipped infrastructure back there to bang out those pizzas. So even if you do see a long line, you're going to get through it pretty quickly. The Deco Deli is such a welcome addition as far as I'm concerned. I mean, sandwiches across the board. A bunch of Cuban options, American options, Italian options. And these are real good artisanal sandwiches that you could just grab for free and go. It almost doesn't seem fair. It feels like you're cheating. You have Shaq's Big Chicken. I mean, the hits just keep on coming. I swear this is one of the best chicken sandwiches I've ever had anywhere, let alone at sea. They struck gold when it comes to Shaq's Big Chicken and those chicken sandwiches. Then you have your street eats. This is a little bit more, would you say, sort of like appetizer type food. It's they're trying to emulate the vibe of like a food truck. They have some like I said, some Asian dishes, and you just grab it and you go. There's no looking at a menu. There's no deciding, do you want that or no. If you want it, this is what they have this day. Do you want it or do you not want it? And you grab it and you go and you move on to the next thing. They also have Emeralds. This is almost like a fast casual concept. So Emeralds, to me, it's not, something where you have to feel like you have to be committed time-wise. And even though it's an upcharge, the pricing is so fair. I mean, there was a beans and rice dish that had the sausage, everything. You would think I think it was like $4. You would think it was going to come out as like a side little bowl, but it was almost like entree style. So while Emeralds isn't up for an upcharge, I truly, truly believe it is still one of the best values on the cruise ship. There's also the steak. To me, Carnival just does it better. I feel like their cuts are prime, dry aged, and they're cooked to perfection. You have your cowboy ribeye, you have your regular, you have a ton of different options as far as steak. They also have chicken, they also have salmon. You can get your salads and some really good appetizers, shrimp cocktail, the whole bit. High end, quality service experience. The steakhouses on Carnival are second to none as far as I'm concerned. All right, so moving on to the main dining room. The main dining room is just the main dining room. It's exactly that. There's nothing there that's going to blow you away, but the service is good. The service was friendly. The food was good. The thing that people complain most about the main dining room, I would say, is the fact that, they don't put the tablecloths on anymore. It's a little bit more of a casual feel, which is something I don't have a problem with, but some people don't love that aspect of it. They introduced a new concept on this class of ships called Chibang. Chibang is a combination of Mexican and Chinese. It is one restaurant with 2 separate sides of the menu. You have the Chinese side of the menu that you can enjoy and the Mexican side. So you pick one or the other, or a combination of whatever, and that's what it is. So, but it's complimentary right now. They also have Cucina del Capitan, also complimentary. The free food on Carnival is second to none. I think I've said it before. If you're looking to lose weight on your sailing, you may want to pick something else. I would say maybe they took a little bit away from the buffet. The buffet was not perfect. I would say the older Carnival ships have a little bit more elaborate selection when it comes to the buffet, as do other cruise lines. Guy's Pig and Anchor was solid for a cruise ship. Slow-cooked barbecue is a difficult thing to pull off, a difficult difficult thing to hold. Also, the fact that you cannot have an open flame on a cruise ship. That is the enemy to all cruise ships, is an open flame. So for that reason, it's very, very difficult to be able to pull off really good smoked barbecue. But they come pretty close. All right, let's make our way over to the bar. Start with the classic. Now it's a classic, the Alchemy Bar. It was one of the first cruise ships, one of the first concepts on a cruise ship that went next level when it comes to craft cocktails. You have the Golden Jubilee Bar. The Golden Jubilee Bar, as we said before, is a tribute to Carnival history, but done in a really next level way. You have Latitudes, which is your real deal craft cocktail bar. Just whatever they're doing, the latest and greatest in mixology is happening at both the Alchemy Bar and Latitudes. 820 Biscayne is another really good bar on this ship. Now, this is a little bit of a segue bar. They do have some fancy drinks. You can get whatever martini you want, mojitos. They don't necessarily have the next level craft cocktails like a Latitudes or the Alchemy Bar, but they got some good stuff. I got a really good espresso martini from there. They have an inside bar, they have an outside bar, and like I said, it's basically in a segue area as you're making your way towards the back of the ship, towards the summer landing. Speaking of the summer landing, the Flavor Town Bar is back there. That's where the brewery is. The drinks are delicious. They're on the basic side, but it's a crazy staff back there. It's a crazy time, a lot of fun, and like I said, all the newest and latest and greatest in Carnival beer that's brewed on board, you can get back there at the Flavor Town Bar. You also have the Red Frog Tiki Bar. That's a simple bar. That's a beach bar, tiki bar. You're not going to go there asking for your smoked old fashions. You're going to go there for your pina coladas, your ice cold beer, and your regular rum drinks, your vodka drinks. All of them are going to be available on both levels of the Red Frog Tiki Bar. And they also have the Havana Bar. That is also another full bar, inside, outside area. And if you want rum, if you're a fan of rum, Cuban cocktails, that type of thing, all your Caribbean drinks are really, really good at the Havana Bar. All right, let's talk about entertainment. You have two venues that can be considered the main show lounges. You have Celebration Central Stage and you have the Grand Spectrum. Now, the Grand Spectrum is what you would think of when you would think of a traditional main theater. Now, they shrunk that down a little bit because of the fact that they're going to share time and split some of the billing with Grand Central Celebration Stage. Now, the Magnificent Circus you'll find in the Celebration Stage, as well as a lot of the Celestial Strings performances. They'll have some Latin shows. They have the Evolution show that they have there. Now, these are a far cry from what you would think of with the older Carnival ships when you're talking about the playlist productions. Those are great shows. Those are very entertaining shows, but they're quick. You know what I mean? They're 45 minutes in and out, backtracking, not necessarily lined up with an orchestra, and, they're not too elaborate. Carnival has absolutely stepped up with the theatrics, with the visuals, and the treat, let's just call it a treat to the senses when it comes to the entertainment. But I will say, you're not getting much of a storyline. You know what I mean? There's not some riveting plot that you want to follow on any of these shows, but it is really cool with the theatrics. They are hanging people from the ceilings. They're doing aerial stuff. They are mixing in some real good music as well. So that's what you're going to find on these newer age Carnival ships when it comes to their main show entertainment. They are far and away better than the shows that you remember from the older Carnival ships or Carnival in yesteryear. They also have the Comedy Club. Now, Carnival, like the steak, like the grab-and-go food, comedy is in that category of things that Carnival just does better than any other cruise line. Carnival Comedy has a Punchliner nightclub, right? So you have the Punchliner Club, and that's the main area where comedy happens on Carnival. But sometimes their shows are so big, they put them in the main theater. And then sometimes they also have multiple shows going on at once, so they'll have shows that are in the Limelight Lounge, which is the ship's nightclub. So there's so much comedy on Carnival, it's almost like it's become so popular, and people go to Carnival, people sail Carnival for the comedy, that they know that very wisely they don't skimp on it. And if they have to move it to other venues to accommodate the crowd, they will do that. Also, the piano bar, I think another thing Carnival does just as good, if not better than any other cruise line, is have a cool venue for piano entertainment. It's not, sleepy piano music. It's not boring, kind of laid back, half asleep piano music. It's high energy, almost dueling piano style. There's only one, but it's that same type of energy that you would get from a dueling piano show. Always on Carnival ships, they do a phenomenal job with that. I love, as simple as it may be, the movies Under the Stars. They've evolved. The screens have gotten better. The audio has gotten better. They give you the popcorn. And, you used to kind of run up to the towel station and grab a towel. Well, they got smart. They realized that people want to cover themselves up. So when there's movies Under the Stars, they actually let you get a blanket. I went up and asked for a towel. They were like, wouldn't you rather have a blanket? I was like, yeah, I think I would. I think I would rather have a blanket. So that's exactly what I did. And then you have the Limelight Lounge, like I mentioned before. Good nightclub. If Carnival does something else as good as anybody, if not better as well, it's the music, the DJ, the energy, whether it's the deck parties, all that stuff. Just fun, fun, fun. That's why they call it the fun ship, right? Now, the Lido Deck itself. Fun Lido Deck, good Lido Deck. I would say, though, for the size of the ship, and like I mentioned before, for the amount of people that they put on this ship, for the capacity itself, the Lido Deck can get a little cramped. So if you want a chair, I would say get out there early. Now, don't be a chair hogger. Don't leave your chair there and run around and disappear for a couple hours. But if you want to hang out, get your towel, get up to the Lido Deck early, because it is not a small Lido Deck by any stretch, but just when you compare it to how many people are on this cruise ship, it can get a little crowded, and it happens pretty fast. So just keep that in mind. There are 2 aft pool decks. If you listen to my podcast at all, you know I am a sucker for an aft pool, one on Summer Landing on deck 7, and then one on the Lido Deck, which is, absolutely a real treat for anybody who likes to have a nice drink by the pool while they watch the sunset and the wake behind them. All in all, this is an absolutely amazing cruise ship, especially if you like to eat. Plenty of paid free options for food. Everything was state of the art. The sound system was the best I've ever heard. The LED screen at the pool was amazing, and that was one of the first things I noticed with the energy that happens when you get on a cruise ship and the energy that's associated with any sail away party. Now, the cruise director, Lee, didn't hurt that too much either. What a phenomenal, energetic, dynamic cruise director Lee is. He's a perfect match for that ship. I love the cocktail menus. I love that there were so many things to try, and it was just a lot of modern and a lot of crafty things to enjoy, whether it was from the food standpoint or the bar standpoint, the nightlife, the clubs. Always something to do. Now, the negatives about this ship, and there are a few, because again, I kind of say about this ship that this ship might have more negatives than the average ship you'll go on. It's just that the stuff that is good, the good parts about it are so good, and there's so many of them that they do discount the negative. Like, for instance, the nightclub. The nightclub is fun, the DJ is good, the music is good, but the layout is just not that great. Like, it's perfect for karaoke. It's perfect for performances. It's just not that great for, you would say a typical nightclub. It's almost like there's a stage. The dance floor is a stage, and then you have almost like risers. I also have to say the elevators were a little slow. This is a pretty big ship with a lot of people on it, and very often you'd be waiting a little while for those elevators. I don't know, I think there's some sort of an algorithm where a lot of times floors would get skipped even though there were a good amount of people waiting, and then they would stop and then they'd open up and there'd be way too many people to get on, so you'd have to wait a couple of different, turns to be able to get on your elevator. So it was a little bit tough. I would say the Lido Deck could have been a little bit more open. I mentioned that before. It was fine. It didn't necessarily feel like an overly cramped Lido Deck, but there were times throughout the sailing when it was a sea day and it was very, very nice out, that it was bordering on a little bit more crowded than you would like it to be. I will say some of the bar staff at the regular bars were a little green, a little not great, not very attentive. Now, at all the specialty bars, like your Latitudes, like your Alchemy Bar, some of the best bartenders and bar service I've ever gotten. But when you're talking about some of the Segway bars and some of the bars that were kind of not named, but off to the side, just serving a particular area, some of those bartenders weren't necessarily up to speed, I would say. Late night food options are not the best. After 10 p.m., it's just pizza and at 3 a.m. the pizza shuts down. I know what you're saying. Who needs to eat after 3 a.m.? A lot of people don't. But, for those of us who like to kind of go out late, stay out late, end up in the casino until it closes, you're done playing blackjack, you go back and there's nothing open. Sometimes it's a little tough. And the room service, let's face it, in most cruise ships, room service is a little bit underwhelming, as we all know. Also, Java Blue coffee, not the best coffee. I'm not a coffee expert or a connoisseur, but you've gotten really, really used to so much of the Starbucks consistency on Norwegian and Royal Caribbean. And the service too comes in those clear plastic cups with the straw and the lid. You can get the 32 ounce. On Carnival Java Blue, it's okay, it's good, and kudos to them because that's another complimentary grab and go food option. For some reason, they took on sandwiches there. Now you can get Philly cheesesteaks at Java Blue and other sandwich options, which, again, like I said, Carnival, you are too good to us in that regard. But the coffee leaves a little to be desired, in my opinion. Let's listen. All in all, this was one of my top 3 cruise ships out of over 30. And to me, it's way, way better than anything that they've done with the Vista class. And it's a world away from any other Carnival class of ships besides that. Now, here's the best compliment I can give. This cruise ship just feels like home to me. There's something about it. It's partially the crew. It's the fact that the size of the ship is big, but the venues are not overwhelming. They don't intimidate you. This ship, more than any other ship that I've experienced, just feels like I can go back on this cruise ship a bunch of times. And if, a lot of people nowadays, they're living on cruise ships, this is a ship that I could see doing that on. I felt very, very comfortable overall for many reasons on the Carnival Celebration. While it was absolutely gigantic in terms of sheer size, it held on to a certain charm. You went from venue to venue, and you just knew where you were at all times. It's a very, very difficult ship to get lost on. Everything does seem to make sense, and that's all I could say, from the bartenders to the servers to everybody, and I would say that too. Very, very friendly staff. It was really, really good to see a cruise ship with a full staff, especially during these times when people do talk about the work shortages and it being difficult to find employees. This cruise ship just really, really, really felt like home. So, like I said, I don't know what better review I can give it than top 3 out of about 30 cruise ships that I've been on, but that's pretty much it. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Again, check out the Always Be Booked Cruise podcast anywhere you like to listen to your favorite cruise podcast. Also, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you so much. You guys are the absolute best. Boat drinks.